our next guest is running for office here in Fresno. Give it up for Jeremy Preis. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so this is your first time on Central Valley Talk, so
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell everybody your plan. You've already got a website, jp4citycouncil.com.
It's getting there. It's not up yet, but it'll be there soon, up and running. And obviously it's early. It just came out on Friday, so I am just kind of in the beginning stages. But obviously it's been a long time in the works. So
I'm a news hound, and I actually found the article in the Fresno. Was it the Fresno Bee? Or was it the Business Journal?
GV Wire.
It was GV Wire. That's right. They broke the story. I saw that. I immediately called you. So thanks for being here. Now, what district will you be running for?
District 1.
District 1. Okay, so that is Tower District.
It is.
Tell everybody your story. Let's go from the beginning, because you have a very interesting one.
Yeah. So born and raised here in Fresno, and sat for a little stint in Orange County when I went to school. I played baseball in college, so it kind of took me that way. After college, I was a high school teacher and coach for about 6 years. Met my wife, and she had family in law enforcement, and so it kind of was something I always wanted to do or was curious about. And she just encouraged me to get involved, and so I went to the academy and ended up working for Fresno PD for 15 years. At that time, when I started, I was living just a couple streets south of Olive, so that was our first home. And then we decided to move, after our first year, and we could have went north and built, but we ended up in the old Fresno High area. And 18 years later, we're still there, a couple kids.
How old are your kids?
My boy is 14 and my daughter is 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good ages. Good little distance.
Quite the blessings, man. They're just wonderful. Fortunately, I was able to walk away from the police department after 15 years on my own terms. I kind of retired, resigned, went into the insurance business. I had an exit plan. It took me a while to get that way. And now I've owned my own farmer's insurance office for 2 years now.
How's that going?
It's going well. I enjoy it. Like we were talking before, it gives me a bunch of time with my kids and wife, and we get to do a little bit of traveling and stuff, so it's good.
And Farmers is a great name.
It is. 8 more years, it's 100 years old, so.
Dang, wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk a little bit about, do you have any experience with politics?
No, not with politics. I have experience in being political.
Okay.
As a public servant, obviously you're political all day long. The reason I wanted to get involved with city council because I wanted it to become less political.
Okay.
You're a civil servant. You're there to serve for the people. And I think it has gotten away from that a little bit. I was a servant when I taught. I was a civil servant with the police department. And now I'm kind of a civil servant with my clients because I'm watching out for their best interests, making sure that they're properly covered if something bad happens. So I've spent my whole life pretty much in service. And I think that's where the council needs to get back to. I don't think there's too much division. There's too much anger. And to be quite honest, the mayor hit it on the nose when he said one Fresno. We can't get to one Fresno unless we're not all on the same page of service. And I think it needs to get back there.
We look at the state of California, right? So many people are moving out. Mm-hmm. But then you look at Fresno. And Fresno is one of the fastest growing cities in the entire state. Just in the last 10 years, we've seen a population increase of almost 100,000. Mm-hmm. So, seeing where Fresno can go, mm-hmm. does that kind of excite you?
Absolutely. I've seen the worst here and I've seen the best. And, fortunately, I've had that opportunity, which a lot of people do not have. Not the average person doesn't see the worst part or the best part. They just see what they see every day. And I believe as a council member, the job is not to be seen or heard. It's just to do a job for the people. And then the happier the people are, the more response they are encouraged to be a civil servant themselves. And then that creates a pattern and a wave to make the city, one Fresno, a better city, a happier place to be. You know, you feel safe in your front yard, feel safe at your park, feel safe going to a concert, you know, all those things. So with the city growing, you're going to need an even more concentrated effort of making people feel safe, you know, and when people feel safe, all those small things happen. Give them the tools, right? Teach a fisherman how to fish. I mean, it's essentially, I feel that's what the job needs.
Well, and then obviously your experience, 15 years on the force, you kind of know what each part of Fresno is like and where it can go. Mm-hmm. What are the good things? What are the bad things? I mean, do you feel that really sets you apart?
I think so. You know, I've been in a lot of different homes, and I see the way people live and how different things affect different people. What's necessarily important to me is not important to somebody else, and that was a big eye opener. And of course, a lot of that came from maturity on my part, and having the exposure to walk into someone's home and make them feel comfortable that I'm there. You know, which was a big challenge at first, and then you learn that skill. You know, and it's the ironic thing is the district is very big. You know, and not a lot of people realize it goes out past Shaw.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You know, it goes all the way out to the county line and then trickles back in the more south it comes. So
you're serving Tower and then part of North Fresno and then downtown.
So the Tower's probably the furthest south that it goes, Olive,
okay.
And then up to Shaw and then all the way out past 99.
Yeah, that's a huge area.
It kind of runs along the tracks by Blackstone and angles up.
Okay.
It almost looks like a kind of deformed Iowa or something. It's real weird, you know. But yeah, it's a bigger district than people think.
Let's talk a little bit about safety. Back to safety, because just in this last year, well, not even in this last year, just in 2021 so far, there's been a lot of crime.
A lot.
What is going on?
You know, to be quite honest, the department is understaffed, for one. Not only the police department's understaffed, but the fire department's understaffed. We have also had the most fires to date than any other year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's a big problem as well. And when you lose the core foundation of a city, which is public safety, and that includes police and fire. When I say that, it's police and fire. Granted, all the other things are important as well, but when you lose that core and it starts to weaken, just like in a body, you know, your core weakens, everything else hurts, right? Your back hurts, your legs hurt, your shoulders hurt. But when that core weakens, then the bad starts to become more and more exposed and prevalent in the city. Like I said before, the least amount of patrol cars you have zooming around that are free, the more crime you're going to have. You know, just on my way here, carjacking. Just on my way here. So broad daylight, and I almost drove right by it, which was the amazing part.
Wow.
But I listened to my scanner because it's still in me.
Yeah,
it's still in me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you know, the mayor's doing a great job trying to get the homeless thing squared away, and you're fighting the state on that one. I mean, that's just not a city problem; it's a state problem. But that's just one aspect of the crime. Shootings are up 300%, just about. Homicides are up through the roof, not to mention all the other crimes that are going on. So there needs to be more effort in giving the city the tools to make the city better. You know, there's things that can be done, you know, and it starts with public safety. I mean,
So that's kind of your, I mean, you know, as I'm hearing you talk, I mean, that's kind of your campaign message: safety first.
It is. It's safety, you know, family and futures. That's my really deal. And then it all comes down to service. We all need to do our part. You know, we all need to know that or feel that we are a part of this one Fresno that's the best unknown city there is, right? Because everyone talks about Fresno usually in a negative tone, right?
Yes.
So when I went to college down south, and where are you from? Fresno. Oh. And luckily I had a roommate from Bakersfield, which took it off the Fresno heat. So, but you know, so it's a big little town. We have a lot to offer here, you know, and there's so much going on. Businesses realize that this is a pretty good place to be. The housing's affordable. You know, in order to get all that, we need to give people the comfort and the tools and to be successful. You know, I grew up, you know, I can use a cliche, a first one to graduate from college, you know, single mom, you know, all that stuff. But it's hard work. It's making it in life is determination. For me, it's faith as well, and it's just perseverance, and you get it done. And I think that's been lost a little bit in the world today, not just in Fresno, but in the world. And I would like to just bring that back a little bit.
You know, I watch city hall meetings online, and I see a lot of bickering. How would you change that?
Well, for one, I see myself as like, I'm a dark horse. You know, I haven't been in politics. I probably would not argue the same as other people would. I feel that arguing is just a form of insanity, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, and in my house, we try not to argue. I've been guilty of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the older I've gotten, the less I try to do it. You know, and I'm a good listener. I like to listen. I learned that from the years in the field. You know, you just listen, and then you try to gather in all the information you just had, and then you come to a common ground. And then, you know, arguing is just opinions. That's all it is. We can throw facts out there as much as we want, and you have to ultimately end up at the same opinion, you know, based on all the facts. So the bickering gets people nowhere. You can't please everybody. You never will be. It's just like in a business, right? Where if you please 80% of the people, you're doing a pretty good job.
Right. Yeah.
I lose clients because they're not happy because maybe I didn't get back to them soon enough, you know, and I get that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's part of life. Life isn't fair. Life sometimes sucks, but it goes on. I mean, it still goes.
Keeps going. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it's a blessing every day you wake up. You wake up. It's a new day. You get a chance to do it again. Be better today than you were yesterday, or try to be. I've made my mistakes. I've made a lot of them, you know,
But you learn from them.
and I've grew.
Yeah.
You know, it's been an all growing experience. I never would have thought 8 years ago I'd be sitting here today. You know, never. But I can say that I'm proud to say I've made mistakes, and I am where I am today. So I think that brings a lot to the table when you've made those mistakes and you know the consequences of those, and you can help that in your decision making, and help that be part of the process of solving a problem. I think that's huge.
I've got like 3 more questions, but we're running out of time, so that means you're gonna have to come back. Is that okay?
I can come back, sure.
When is the election?
It's not for a while. The
Okay.
primary is not until next June.
Okay.
So June 22.
But so you're really just starting your campaign?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How can people learn more? I know you've got the website. You're getting it's going to be launching soon. Can people connect with you on Facebook or?
The Facebook is just my name. It's just being created. I wasn't on social media except for LinkedIn. But I also have an email. It's jp4council@gmail.com.
Perfect. One last question. Tower Theater. Since you're gonna, we got to get this in. The sale ain't going through. It's over. What are your thoughts?
I was pretty neutral on it.
Okay.
I love the way the Tower Theater looks. I think it's a staple in the city, and it needs to be kept normal or original.
Yeah.
No matter what goes on inside, I think just as long as the outside stays the same and it keeps the nostalgia of the tower. The tower's unique. You know, you're not going to find the tower in many cities.
No.
So having that staple at nighttime, it lit up, you know, the star up there, and sometimes the marquee lights going if they have a concert going in there or something. Yeah, I understand traffic's an issue, parking's an issue when it becomes a Sunday, but it's a Sunday. And when we have big events, parking is never an issue. You know, we have a concert in there, we have cars everywhere, no one goes, oh, the parking. So I think it's a little bit of a double standard on that one. But as long as aesthetically it stays the same, I think no matter what goes in there or if it stays, it should be
good.
It should be
Okay.
good.
Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me. Great conversation.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Come back, all right?
All
I
right.
got more questions. And I'll probably have more questions when you come back, too.
Sounds good.
You're watching Central Valley Talk. I'm Austin Reed. We're back with more live local guests coming up in just a bit. Don't go anywhere.